Every time Ebola appears, the camera points at Africa. But nobody asks the real question. Why is it always Africa's problem to carry?
Those who show symptoms, we quarantine them, we isolate them, test them. Fortunately for our country, not a single person tested has tested positive for Ebola.
Outbreaks begin when humans come in contact with infected wildlife, food bats, primates, before spreading person to person through caregiving and burial. This is not backwardness. That is what happens when you strip a continent of its hospitals, its institutions, its infrastructure, and then leave. DRC's current outbreak is unfolding inside active conflict zones, mass displacement, and collapsed air systems, conditions that were not self-created. Ebola keeps returning to Africa, not because Africa is weak, but because the world views Africa's vulnerability and then walked away. And now, in 2026, the world has found a new way to make Africa carry the weight. American Secretary of State said it out loud.
People, because it's on the news, is Ebola. Our number one obligation, we're involved in foreign policy, but even our foreign policy, the number one priority of our foreign policy is to protect the American people. We cannot and will not allow any cases of Ebola to enter the United States. And so the State Department and other agencies represented here, the Centers for Disease Control, HHS, others, are working very, very hard to contain this crisis to the countries where it's currently located, particularly the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And so we've surged assistance to make sure that is being contained there. And obviously, multiple agencies involved here are also very involved in tracking people just to make sure that nobody comes into this country that has Ebola and creates a problem for us. And we feel like we've got good efforts in place to do that, and Americans should feel assured that the President and his administration is doing everything we can to protect them on that.
We cannot and will not allow any cases of Ebola to enter the United States. So where did they plan to send exposed Americans instead? Kenya. A 50-bed quarantine facility built inside Kenya's Laikipia Air Base to isolate Americans arriving from the DRC outbreak. Kenya has 0 Ebola cases. President Ruto approved it after President Trump personally made the request. Kenya's own law society said it plainly. If America is apprehensive about Ebola, we are asking our government to have the same standard. Kenya's High Court agreed. It suspended the facility on the very day it was set to open, citing a direct threat to life. Then the street spoke.
We want to tell the president he cannot be making such a decision to people of Kenya without even considering what will be the effect of what they are doing. We feel that we are being shortchanged because they didn't even come for public participation. Everything that affects the people should come for public participation. So we, the people who are surrounding this area, and specifically Laikipians, we reject with the strongest terms the building of quarantine facility in Laikipia County.
Protesters marched on the base. 2 people lost their life from gunshot wounds when authority opened fire.
In Kenya, sources have confirmed to the BBC that 2 people have died in protests against the establishment of a US government Ebola isolation unit. Kenya's Doctors Union and government watchdogs oppose the plan, saying it risks exposing local population.
America built a wall around itself and handed Kenya the risk. That's not partnership. That's a hierarchy dressed up as diplomacy.
When President Trump asked the government of Kenya to support them by having a center in Laikipia Air Base, I gave the okay because it was an agreement and a partnership with friends who have worked with Kenya for 30, 40 years.
They extracted the wealth, they left the weaknesses, and now they want to leave the sickness. The continent cannot heal what it refuses to name, and Africa has carried enough of what was never ours to carry. Follow African Panorama. We ask the questions they don't want to ask.